Hello, America! JOC here with your Ranting Politics headline updates, where we are diving into today's most explosive political stories that you need to know about. Coming up, the FBI is making a dramatic exit from its iconic DC headquarters, with 1,500 agents heading to greener pastures across America. President Trump has unveiled an ambitious vision to transform Gaza into what he's calling a freedom zone. And Health Secretary RFK Jr. is making waves with major policy shifts on COVID vaccines for children and pregnant women. If you're just tuning in for the first time, welcome to America's fastest-growing daily news rundown, designed specifically for your commute, run, or coffee time. Stick around for all this and more in your daily dose of unfiltered news and common-sense commentary. This is Ranting Politics Headline Updates. Well, folks, it looks like the FBI is finally breaking up with its longtime home in D.C. FBI Director Kash Patel dropped a bombshell announcement Friday, revealing that the Bureau is ditching the infamous J. Edgar Hoover building and sending 1,500 employees packing to locations across the country. Talk about a government breakup for the ages. According to Patel, the decision comes down to one simple fact: the building is basically falling apart. In his interview with Fox Business anchor Maria Bartiromo, Patel didn't mince words, saying, "This FBI is leaving the Hoover building because this building is unsafe for our workforce." I mean, nothing says premier law enforcement agency quite like a crumbling headquarters, am I right? But let's be real, this move isn't just about employee safety. Patel raised an excellent point that's been staring us in the face for years. In the National Capital Region, in the 50-mile radius around Washington, D.C., there were 11,000 FBI employees. That's like 1/3 of the workforce. 1/3 of the crime doesn't happen here. Gee, you think? It's almost as if criminals operate outside the Beltway too. Shocking, I know. The brutalist eyesore that currently houses the FBI has been a point of contention for years. Even before taking office, Trump reportedly considered acquiring the building for redevelopment. During his first term, he made no secret of his architectural assessment, calling it one of the ugliest buildings in the city. Not exactly a ringing endorsement from a real estate developer. While Patel hasn't specified exactly where these relocated agents will end up, he promised that every state is getting a plus-up in FBI personnel. The timeline? Look for these changes to roll out over the next 3, 6, 9 months, as the Bureau works to redistribute its workforce to where they're actually needed, fighting crime across America, not just shuffling papers in Washington. As reported by the New York Post, this move signals a significant shift in how federal law enforcement approaches its mission. The question now is, will moving agents closer to the communities they serve help restore trust in an institution that's faced its fair share of criticism? Only time will tell. President Trump is making waves with his bold vision for Gaza, folks. And let me tell you, it's anything but conventional. During a meeting in Doha, Qatar, Trump unveiled what he's calling a freedom zone concept for the war-ravaged Palestinian territory. "I have concepts for Gaza that I think are very good. Make it a freedom zone," Trump declared, suggesting direct American involvement in the reconstruction effort. But he didn't stop there. The president went all in, stating, "I'd be proud to have the United States have it. Take it. Make it a freedom zone." This isn't just talk about sending aid or diplomats. This is potentially putting American boots on the ground to transform an entire territory. The reality on the ground is grim. Trump himself acknowledged the staggering devastation, noting, "I have aerial shots where, there's practically no building standing." With approximately 70% of Gaza's infrastructure damaged or completely collapsed since the October 7th, 2023 terrorist attack, we're not talking about a fixer-upper. We're talking total reconstruction. Trump's vision goes beyond mere rebuilding. He's previously floated plans to relocate nearly 2 million Palestinian refugees and develop the coastal enclave into something of a Mediterranean Riviera. He's even gone so far as to post AI-generated videos showing himself at a future Gaza resort, Talk about thinking outside the diplomatic box. The president didn't mince words about the current living conditions, saying, "People are living under the rubble of buildings that collapsed, which is not acceptable." It's hard to argue with that assessment, regardless of where you fall politically. While Israel has reportedly embraced Trump's ambitious plan, with the Jewish state pushing for its own occupation of the region, the vision has hit roadblocks with Middle Eastern allies who have repeatedly refused to help house Palestinian refugees. And unsurprisingly, many Palestinians have rejected calls to abandon their homeland, though others exhausted by war have expressed willingness to leave. The Gaza situation remains in limbo as ceasefire talks between Hamas and Israel have made little progress, even after the recent release of Israeli-American Eden Alexander. As reported by the New York Post, Trump's Freedom Zone concept represents one of the most audacious geopolitical proposals in recent memory, but whether it can move from presidential vision to reality remains to be seen. In a seismic shift for public health policy, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is reportedly set to eliminate CDC recommendations for routine COVID-19 vaccinations for children, teenagers, and pregnant women. This major policy reversal comes after years of Kennedy being vilified by mainstream media and tech platforms for questioning vaccine safety. Now he's in charge of one of the government's most powerful agencies. According to reporting from the Wall Street Journal, the Kennedy-led HHS is expected to scrap these routine recommendations in the coming days, aligning with the Trump administration's broader Make America Healthy Again agenda. While the exact timing remains unclear, sources indicate this announcement will coincide with the launch of a new framework for vaccine approvals. FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary didn't hold back when discussing this shift on The Charlie Kirk Show, stating bluntly, "I'd love to see the evidence to show that giving young, healthy children another COVID shot, a sixth COVID booster, would help them. But that evidence does not exist." Makary further explained the FDA's new approach. "We're not just going to rubber stamp things." He indicated both the FDA and CDC are quietly backing away from aggressive COVID vaccine recommendations for children, noting that other leading countries in Europe have recommended against it for young, healthy children. This policy change represents a stunning validation for Kennedy, who has consistently warned about potential risks of mRNA vaccines, particularly for young, healthy populations. He's long cited concerns about insufficient long-term safety data and troubling side effects like myocarditis in adolescents. What remains unclear is whether HHS plans to remove COVID shot recommendations entirely for these groups or merely suggest patients consult with their doctors about potential risks and benefits. Currently, the CDC recommends COVID vaccines for everyone 6 months and older, including pregnant women. This move marks one of the most significant reversals of pandemic-era health policy to date, with Kennedy now using his position to implement changes he's advocated for years. As reported by the Gateway Pundit, Kennedy now finds himself at the helm of one of the most powerful agencies in the federal government, and he's using that power to protect America's most vulnerable. Folks, what we're witnessing here is nothing short of a fundamental reshaping of American policy on multiple fronts. These three major shifts represent a dramatic departure from the status quo that previous administrations have maintained for years, if not decades. Let's take this FBI headquarters situation. Kash Patel isn't just relocating a building. He's completely decentralizing one of America's most powerful law enforcement agencies. Think about it. Moving 1,500 agents out of the DC bubble and into communities across the country completely transforms how the Bureau will operate. It's the physical manifestation of draining the swamp, taking power from Washington, and redistributing it nationwide. This isn't just about ditching an ugly brutalist building. It's about reimagining what federal law enforcement should look like in America. Then there's Trump's Gaza proposal. Talk about bold. The notion of the United States directly taking over and transforming a war-ravaged territory into what he's calling a freedom zone represents one of the most ambitious foreign policy initiatives in decades. Whether you see it as humanitarian intervention or neo-colonial overreach, you can't deny it's a radical departure from the decades of failed peace processes in the region. And Kennedy's vaccine policy overhaul? This completely upends years of CDC orthodoxy. We're talking about an administration that's willing to break with the established public health consensus and essentially admit that previous COVID policies targeting children may have been unnecessary or even harmful. What ties these policies together is their boldness and willingness to generate controversy. Each one fulfills campaign promises to shake up entrenched systems, whether it's the federal bureaucracy, Middle East diplomacy, or public health institutions. These aren't incremental tweaks. They're fundamental reimaginings of how government should function. The question now becomes whether these sweeping changes will deliver the promised results or create new sets of unforeseen challenges. One thing's for certain: the administration is moving rapidly to implement its vision. Consequences and controversy be damned. My friends, if you're enjoying the insights and the independent ethos we're dishing out here at Ranting Politics, don't be a stranger. Jump into the lively conversation on X. Give us a follow at RantingRP or check us out at rantingpolitics.com and subscribe to our newsletter or stop over to our all-new YouTube channel. We're always buzzing about the next big headline and love to see your takes on the fiasco that is politics. And while you've got that phone handy, come on, I know it's in your reach. Do us a solid and tap that like and follow button on your podcast feed. Your support doesn't just boost our reach, it keeps real independent thought in the game against those giant media machines. We're also on all your favorite podcast platforms, from Apple Podcasts to Spotify and now Alexa. Hit that subscribe button for regular updates chock full of unfiltered analysis and all the news that's fit to rant about. This is JOC, signing off. And thank you, our loyal listeners, for choosing Ranting Politics headline updates. We'll be back soon with the updates you need to navigate these interesting times. Remember, we don't align with a political party. We align with you, the American citizen. Until then, stay tuned, stay informed, and as always, stay free.